Welcome to the Rooted Warriors, the podcast where the bonds of sisterhood are not just celebrated, but explored through laughter, tears, and everything in between. Join me and my two dearest friends as we dive deep into the roots of our own friendships, sharing stories and challenges. Whether you're looking for inspiration, advice, or just a good story, we're here to bring a piece of our sisterhood right into your life.
Well, hello there, my kindred spirits. Welcome to the Rooted Warriors. I'm Kat, and today we're threading together our special episode of Fabric of Love. We'll delve into the connections that enrich our lives, from deep friendships to family ties that sustain us. Are you ready to explore the stories that bind us stitch by stitch? Let's embark on this journey of discovery and celebrate the beautiful treasure of relationships.
Well, hello, ladies.
Hello, my sister.
Hello. I see these beautiful faces in front of me. We must have had a good weekend.
I was gonna say, are we smiling, that pig?
How weird is it that all three of us were on a getaway?
With our man.
With
I
our
love
man.
getaway.
Love Shack.
I love love.
Oh, I love.
Rusted.
Yeah.
In any facet, I love love.
I love love too. So many different types of love. But
Yes.
how was your weekend, Andy?
It was, you know what? The trip was amazing. We only went for 31 hours. Greg not timed it, but afterward, he was like, you know what? You keep saying how great this was. And we were gone for 31 hours, but it was like jam packed full of beach time and tide pools and exploring and fun games.
I love
We
it.
played San Francisco-opoly.
I love it.
31 hours sounds like it could be a book.
Oh my
31 hours
God.
later.
Isn't that a great
Oh my
title?
God, that's a great
I'll
title.
take it.
I want to read
I know
it.
the ending.
I'm just joking. I know the ending of it. We all know the ending.
Right? What about you, Miss Mo?
I had a couple trips in a row and I just feel way more connected with my husband. I know that we
Mhm.
talked about before, like not feeling so connected.
Yeah.
I really feel like he hears me, he sees me, and vice versa.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I
So
bet
we
he
really
enjoyed
connected.
himself.
It feels good
He
to be
did.
seen and heard.
It does.
Like-
And, I think that, we've had deep conversation and sometimes deep conversation without any conversation at all. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that he's felt my energy and how I've been and, a little sad at times and, happy at times.
Right.
But like, I feel like he's really starting to feel it and see it. And so it makes me feel more connected to him.
I love that you said that because that's why we went on our trip also.
Yeah.
And isn't it nice when you have a man like that that just really wants to treasure your heart and he knows when you're hurting and he just takes the lead like that and whisks you away.
100%. And, I've been hurting emotionally and physically.
Right.
And so it was nice. It was exactly what we needed.
And I love that you were able to put your guard down and let him lead you
Yes.
on this little journey of yours.
And it's also like I was telling you, Gina, that it's, now we're in this next phase. I don't have to be the boss anymore at work.
Mhm.
I don't have to be the boss anymore of children.
Yeah.
And, for this last leg, I'm really looking forward to handing everything back to Bob and being
then
like,
just being in your feminine.
Yes.
Girl, is there freedom there or
Oh,
what?
God.
I'm like,
Yeah.
take them.
and it's nice. Like he did everything, other than, doing the hotel stuff, because that's what
Mhm.
us girls do, that's our job. But
Yeah.
other than that, he dealt with everything and it was great. I loved it. And it felt like it used to feel. So yeah, it was a great
Love that
trip.
for you.
What about you, Gina?
I also did a little getaway.
Where'd you go?
Santa Barbara.
Oh, it's
So beautiful.
there.
It was
In unison.
I feel so blessed to be whisked away all the time. This one was more business, but I did get to spend time just kind of walking the downtown area.
I saw
Santa
your palm
Barbara.
trees.
Yes, very, very beautiful. And he's just such an amazing man, he's just good. He's good to me.
I love that he includes you
Yeah.
It's like he wants to be with you regardless if it's business
Mhm.
or not. I think that's the joy of our relationships, all of
Yeah.
us, is that we find our partners are our business partners as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, we're
they're our life
growing
partners.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was quite lovely.
Yeah, did it weave into the fabric?
The weave of the fabric.
It did. The fabric of love.
What is your definition of love, Miss Gina? Like when you think of love, like what do you think of?
I think that I think it's you have to be very vulnerable to really give away part of you and in your heart and your soul, and then trust somebody not to break it.
Right.
Right. And I really think it's like putting all those guards down and going, okay, I'm just gonna go with it. Because if we keep those guards up, it's not love. It's just like a little bit at a time, or, playing peekaboo with love. You have to just it's like you drop your hands down and you relax your shoulders and you're like, I'm in this, right?
Present.
Yeah, present. It's just in the now,
Mhm.
and loving every moment of it,
And not
but it's,
worrying about yesterday or
yeah. But I honestly think it's time, it's and it's trust. It's really, really, you have to become in such a vulnerable state eh, to allow somebody in like that, especially when you're a warrior.
truth.
When
Yeah.
you've had to be strong your whole entire life, when you've had to take the reins, when you've had to play a role you don't want to play.
Right.
And then to realize, like I need to let that go. I need to relax into this and I need to trust this man with my heart and my soul.
Right. And
So,
it's so when you're with a man who actually provides the environment for you to be that feminine woman and be emotional and love from the depths of your soul, and that I always call a well of love. Some of the
mhm,
depths go deeper than others, and but when you're allowed to do that without any anything bad happening to you, which is not always what happened to us as kids, right? So but we keep putting ourselves out there like that. I feel
mhm.
like when you finally find a man who just lays it down for you, just he really just wants what's best for you in all aspects, and that makes it so much easier to love selflessly when
Mm.
someone else is joining you selflessly.
I was trying to find a word in my head and I still cannot find it, but selfless is a good word that kind of matches. But consideration, it's loving somebody is putting them before and
Nana
their
says,
feelings
hmm
and that consideration.
That would be my biggest thing is
Yeah.
selfless love
Yeah.
because, everyone is selfish to a point, right?
hmm
When your significant other loves you completely, they are selfless when it comes to loving you.
Mhm.
yeah,
So they put your needs, your feelings above theirs. And this is usually not something that comes natural to people. It's
no,
something that we learn and that we develop as we get older.
Mhm.
And you have to be, as Gina would say, mindful of that. And
hmm
it's true. Um, you know, um, I always try to remind myself to not be selfish and to put his needs ahead of mine. And sometimes you get tired of always their needs coming before you. And then you say, if I keep showing him that I could be selfless, then he will be selfless. So sometimes we have to nudge them.
I was gonna say they need to be directed
Lead by
into that.
example.
Yes.
And
Sometimes they don't get it.
and sometimes
Right.
they don't realize that they're being selfish.
right,
Mhm.
And they need someone to remind them. It should be their partner, but sometimes they need to be reminded. And when they are reminded, the hope would be that they say, hey, this person needs me to be selfless so that I could properly love them so that they feel loved.
right.
So for me, I think that true love is selfless.
Mm. Mhm.
And you have to be able to trust, like Gina said, as I'm listening to both of you, trust is the most important thing in love, especially for those of us that have been damaged.
Mhm.
It's hard because your walls are not only high, they're thick.
Yes.
And
It's true.
every time you get hurt, you patch that hole in the wall
Mhm.
with a thicker substance.
Love that.
So I have a bigger rock and then more rocks.
Threw some spackle on top
Lots
of
of
it.
spackle.
Right.
And a couple
You
paint
bondoed
jobs.
the you know what out of that sucker.
So
Cat
amazing.
hair. I did everything. So trust is big. And when trust is broken, it takes time to repair it. And sometimes people think, oh, well, you're not forgiving. It's not that a person is not forgiving. It's that trust has to be rebuilt.
Mhm.
Right.
And like we said, love comes in a lot of forms. Gina said that at the beginning here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
There's platonic love. There's
Mhm.
the love that we have for our children, love that we have for our spouse, our friends,
Our pets.
Mhm.
our pets,
Mhm.
people that we know, our acquaintances,
Right. Strangers.
love for food. I have a lot of that.
I love
I love food. It
But
may be an unhealthy love,
right.
but I love
And
it
maybe
anyway.
you love a certain hobby. I love to read. I got to read an entire book this last vacation with Bob, and it was phenomenal. I couldn't put it down. I read it in just a few hours.
When's the last time you read a book before that and were able to complete it?
A long time.
It's been a
Yeah.
long time for me too,
long
right?
time. But I'm never just turning stuff off. But now that Jeremiah has taken over as CEO, he's taking almost everything. Like I only do
Oh,
what
wow.
I absolutely want to do. So it's the first time that I've been on a vacation that I'm not getting blown up with emails, phone calls, text messages,
How'd that feel?
and worrying. It was a twofold thing, right? So it's like relief, but then it's like, what the hell do I do? Who am I? It's like worse than the empty nest
Someone
thing.
need me.
Someone need me. Someone like who am I? I mean, I've worked my entire life.
Yeah.
I don't know how not to be burning at both ends.
But how exciting to be able
Yes.
to rediscover
Me
you.
and my husband.
The new
Yes.
you, because
Yeah.
you're not even the same
not the same
person you
person.
were.
No.
I'm not the same
Absolutely.
person I was 12 weeks ago, right, ladies?
No. Yeah.
Can we be serious about
Yeah.
that? It's
Yeah.
the truth. There's been so much growth.
Yeah. The book I read was called Our Souls at Night. Have you guys heard of this book?
No, never.
So they made a movie out of it as well, I think in 2017. And it was Robert Redford and Jane Fonda.
Mm. Okay.
And this book really hit me. And I feel like, I don't know if I'm purposely picking out books of old people or what's happening. But
What's going on?
the next
here?
one I have is called Second Act by Danielle Steele. So I don't know what's wrong with me. But anyways, this story was phenomenal. So the premise of it, I'll just tell you guys the story. So this is like a spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
So if you're happening to want to read this book, Our Souls at Night, Gina, sorry, it sucks to be you. I literally gave it to her. I literally gave it to her to read. Spoiler alert,
Okay.
you're still going to want to read it.
Okay.
So what it is it's this these two people that they were next door neighbors for like 48 years. They both were married and their spouses died. So one day, Lewis is at his house and Addie comes over in the evening and knocks on the door and he invites her in. And, it's kind of uncomfortable. They're on the couch talking, but he's like, what the hell is she doing here? And she's like, I came over because I have a proposal for you. Not a marriage proposal, but I have a proposal for you. So he's like, okay, what's the proposal? And she's like, I think that we should start sleeping together. And he's like, what the heck?
Oh.
She goes, I don't mean sex. And he's like, well, that's good
You
because
might
I'm a
wanna
little old for that.
clarify.
Yeah.
And she's like, I just want us to lay next to each other, talk, and go to sleep. Because I don't know if you're like me, maybe you don't sleep at night. And he's like, okay, like I'll think about it. Well, they start doing it, not doing it.
Whoa.
Wah, wah, wah.
I know.
They don't start doing
Plot
it.
twist.
No, so they start seeing each other every night. He goes over there, they talk, and they fall asleep. And both of them had suffered from not being able to sleep. So the town is a very small town in Colorado Springs at the time, and everyone starts talking about it. And
Topic at the beauty shop.
Yep.
Mm.
His daughter
Mhm.
calls all upset because he's sleeping with the next door neighbor. And, so now they're a little bit aware of it, but she doesn't give a rip. Like, she's like, I don't really care what other people think. Like,
I like her.
this is great. She's great. She's for sure my favorite character. And anyways, as they start talking, they talk about their marriages a lot and their children. And, from the outside, their marriages looked great. They're married for 47 years. It's all, wonderful, but it wasn't. He had had an affair with somebody that he worked with, left his wife and daughter for a couple weeks.
Cheer.
Yeah. Came back, and him and his wife suffered from not being able to connect sexually again, really. And then she ended up dying of cancer, and he took care of her later in life. And then her eldest daughter, she had a son and a daughter, and her eldest daughter at 11 or 12, I don't remember, was killed by a car out front. And the son and her were playing with the hose in the summertime, and he chased after her, and she got killed. And so the husband always blamed the boy. So her and her husband struggled with that connection. And so anyways, that summer, her and Lewis are just really developing this great platonic relationship because they're not having sex. It's just platonic. They're somebody to talk with at night until they could restfully sleep. And I could see, like, as a woman, like in my mind when I'm reading the book, like my husband checks all the doors, he checks the windows, he adjusts the air, he, makes sure that I'm tucked in, everything's good.
Closes up shop.
Yeah, he does the closing duties. I do opening, he does closing duties. So I could see when you've done that for 40 something years and all of a sudden you don't have a significant other to do that with, it's kind of scary, right? In some ways.
Yeah.
So they create this great relationship. The son calls her and says how him and his wife are getting a divorce and she's left, and can she take care of their son for this summer? So Lewis and her go on camping trips with the boy. They get him a dog. It's like this great bonding experience that they have with the grandson. And then the son finds out that she's having him sleep over at night. And he like has this huge fit. Like, this is improper. This isn't okay. You can never talk to Lewis again.
Wow.
Which, isn't that horrible? Like,
can you
she's a
imagine
grown
Jeremiah
woman.
going, you may not do this?
You're on crack, little boy. I can do whatever I want. But he threatens to take the grandchild away. And as we all know, when people use children as pawns to get what they want, you end up doing what they want.
It ends up working.
Because your love for that child is greater than your anger for the situation.
Yeah.
So anyways, she ends up telling Lewis that they have to no longer have this platonic relationship.
He must have been devastated.
He was. And then she falls, breaks her hip. The son puts her in a convalescent home. And one night she calls Lewis after many months of not calling him. And he's like, oh, you're going to get in trouble. And she said, I just don't care anymore. Just talk to me so I could sleep. And that was the end of the book.
Oh, well, she's not going to tell you the rest of it.
I just told her the whole damn book.
But the ending.
She's like, no. That was the ending.
That was the ending.
It was
That was it.
So as I read that, like, I felt like even though these people are much older than me, I felt a lot of connection in this book. And I don't know if it's my age. I don't know what it is. But I felt a lot of it kind of called to me.
I think that, like, the need for a companion, a partner, somebody by your side, platonic or not, it's important. We're not meant to be alone. Sorry.
No.
We're not.
God
It's
made us
biblical.
man. Yeah, it is
We're not meant
man
to
and
be alone.
woman. We're meant to pair, match, and we're meant to love.
Connection.
Yeah. Yeah. What a great book. Do you want it back?
So great. Honestly, you want to read it because there's so many parts in it that I left out that are, I mean, that's like the gist of the whole thing. But honestly,
The cheat notes.
it's the cheat notes.
Yeah.
It's the cliff notes for you.
Notes.
But
Now we know we want to watch it.
But I feel like, honestly, like that I am picking movies and books that speak to me now rather than just fill up empty space. Where I used to like watch stuff for empty space. Where now, like, that's not it.
It's purposeful.
Yeah. You know what I'm watching right now? I'm binging right now.
What?
Is Little House on the Prairie.
Oh,
We've already done it 3
Who the hell
times.
am I? Who am I?
That's
is
okay.
And I'm like, his wife is amazing.
Oh, gosh.
And he's
so,
kind of an asshole, but I love him.
Carolyn.
Yeah.
I love him.
So this reminds me of this story I heard that also had, an impact on me. And it's about a husband and a wife, and they've been married like 25 years, kind of raised their kids. And he comes home one day and he says, I want a divorce. I've been having this affair with my secretary, and she's like
course.
22, and she's so beautiful and full of life and laughter, and she's easygoing, and there's just all these qualities about her, and
Mm.
I love her, and I'm gonna marry her, and I need to divorce you to do this, right? And the wife is just like, "Oh my God." And he said, "Well, I mean, also I want to keep our home, this house. So I want you to move out."
Security. I'm just joking.
Right, literally. And the wife says, "You know what? I need to think about it. I'll let you know tomorrow." And the next day comes and she says, "Okay, I agree. You can keep the house for your new beautiful bride that you're going to marry. And I need you to do something for me. For the next 30 days, I want you to carry me up the stairs and put me to bed every night for 30 days." And he
That could
said,
be
"What
awkward.
a strange request."
weird request.
Yeah, this is really weird, but
I'm trying to picture my ex-husband
Mhm.
doing this for me.
I don't think Bob could do it
Yeah.
for me anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think it would work.
Think
Yeah.
I outgrew that.
And so he's like, "Okay, weird, but I'll do it because I get this new my home for, my new wife
Because we're
to
talking
be."
money.
Yeah.
All right.
And so, the first, 5 days he grabs her and carries her upstairs and puts her in bed. And, by day 6 and 7, he's carrying her up the stairs and he's, looking at her face and watching her hair kind of flow, and he starts remembering how much he loved her. He loved this woman. He had children with her, and a couple more days go by, and he's looking at her again, and he starts reminiscing, and every day that he carries her up to the room, he's reminded of this woman that he spent the 25 years with, loving, and how they have lost this connection. And by like day 29, he's carrying her up there, and he's just looking at her and just tears in his eyes, and he's just like, "Oh God, I don't want to divorce this woman." And he goes home, and the next day he decides, like, "No, I want us. I want to be married to you. I forgot, how much I loved you." And
Aw.
he runs over to the house, and he can't wait to carry his wife up to bed. And he gets there, and there's a note from his wife who had passed away, just thanking him for the last 29 days of carrying her up to the bed, and wanted to remind him,
She was sick and he didn't know it.
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Yeah. That's a great love story.
So did she have cancer or?
Well, it doesn't really say, and I want to say that it's like a metaphor for love. I don't know if it's the truth.
I want to know the
really
details of
great.
this.
Yeah, I don't know what truth is
She left
in
his
it.
ass a dear John. I left you for your secretary.
Yeah, that's right. She faked her death.
And by the
I was
way,
gonna-
we have the house.
Yeah,
Joke's
you're
on
out.
you.
Yeah,
Wow.
That was powerful, though.
That was.
yeah, and I think that love is like happiness. You have to choose it every day.
Every day.
You have to choose that is your partner, because we say through thick, through thin, through sickness.
Words.
But they are words, but in word there is power, right?
Mhm.
And we choose every single day to love this person in their ugly, in their glory days, when they're beautiful and they're shining and they're glowing and they're making you laugh. And love beats us up a little bit. And so we have to remind ourselves to choose that love every single day, because that reminds me, like, instead of choosing love, he looked the other way and saw something prettier momentarily,
Shiny.
shiny, it's new, but there's a value in that woman that he chose to marry.
Well, and if you think about it, that new thing is shiny right now, but once he knows it as well as he knows his wife,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
But it's like less work, right? So
Mhm.
for them, there's all this like collateral damage that's happened. Probably he caused
Well,
probably
he
half
cheated
of
on her.
it. Yeah.
Right.
But like a lot of the things that maybe they've been arguing about before, or maybe not arguing about, just not talking, not connecting, that it's just easier to start with this new toy rather than
Right.
fix the toy that is broken.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
And
He gets to be the hero all over
all
again.
over again.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he looks so much more amazing than he did when they were struggling, going through life, barely paying
Mhm.
bills and dealing with kids.
Right.
And where this time looks like the big knight in shining armor.
Right.
Until he's no longer fun to be with and she's
Mhm.
done with his
Right.
ass or whatever.
Or he decides she's too old now
Yeah.
and she's
So I think love is like for you. I mean, 28 years you've been with
Yeah.
your person.
Mm-hmm.
With you guys been 13 years. And me, I get to experience love all over and over and over and over.
It's like Groundhog's Day.
Groundhog's Day. 50 dates.
But this is what I do know. So I've gained knowledge, right?
I meant to stop laughing. This really fucked up. I'm sorry. But should we tell Greg to edit that? I don't know.
No, it's hilarious.
But I have gained knowledge. And so here is what I know. And I know that me and Adam, it's only been over, a bit over a year, right? But I know that love is shiny and new in the beginning. And it's easy to look at somebody brand new in love and then you're envious. You're like, oh God, I remember what that felt like. Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, it's not. For me, it's scary because it's a bunch of bullshit right away, right?
Everybody's like putting on their best
Right.
face forward
Yes.
kind of
It's
thing.
like,
And
just,
yeah.
just
100%.
imagine like if you put on top of your head like 100 veils. And
Yeah.
each time something happens, like one of those veils
How
just
pretty is
comes
that bride?
off, right? And then
Right.
something else happens and you're pulling another one off. And a year later, you're like, oh, that's what you look like.
Oh, cool.
Holy shit.
Oh, wow.
Look at
human.
you. Yeah. And then it's like, it took all that time to get there. And you're like staring at that person. And it's like, now I've seen all your ugly.
Mhm.
Now I've seen this and that. And it took us a year and a half to get there, and it's like, is it enough? Is that person that now you're presenting to me?
Right.
Is that what I want? Is that and so we're not always shiny and glossy like a new coin on the ground. It's like you need to choose and decide that ugly that I get to see is
Is mine.
it's mine.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I get both, right? He has to look at me with all of my veils off and be like, this is the woman I'm going to die with. This is the woman that I get the pleasure um to grow old with and to
Mhm.
watch this woman, grow old. There's something to be said about that.
I also
You know
think
what I
there's
mean?
something about how beautiful those chapters are going to be
Yeah.
because they're for you both.
Yeah.
No kids, no nothing, just you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's something so beautiful about that. Same thing with you, Mommy. It's like, oh, and
Yeah.
us too. It's just, I'm just saying that it's like one of those things where it's uninhibited and there's no distraction. And I mean, other than regular life, but I mean, now you just have each other to like really focus on
It's
or
true.
whatever.
Yeah.
But I totally get what you're saying about the shiny pretty and all the veils on and stuff like that. And then at
Yeah.
the very end, you're just kind of like, let me see that human. Like, let me
Yeah.
see you're ugly too. And you
Yeah.
want to, and you're in love with them for that reason. But will you be after you see the
Yeah.
truths?
Yeah.
You know?
And maybe that's why we hide in the beginning our little pieces of ugly, and then eventually it all
But the
comes
real
out.
trust comes when you know that they know.
Yeah.
When they
Uh-huh.
see you and they still are going to be there for you,
Yeah.
Mhm.
that says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. After you've taken off all your own veils and they still think you're beautiful through your
Yeah.
ugly,
That's huge.
that's big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't come along like that.
No,
Agreed.
and then it's hard. You have to trust that.
Right?
You know what I mean? You have
Yeah.
to
Not
trust
go,
that.
liar.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah, for
bedhead
sure.
without my veils.
Yeah.
That's funny. I love my guy. He tries to make me feel special all the time, but sometimes you don't want to accept that special. You don't maybe think you're worthy of it, or you're just not accustomed to that kind of treatment, right? So he found a little TikTok the other day and he said, "This is how I feel about you." And anybody that knows my guy, Mr. Marine, and he's not a softie like that at all. He's big, tough alpha guy. So for him to do this, it's very sweet. And it was the first time he really kind of gave me an insight to how he feels. And so I thought it was really cute. I'll play it for you.
She guessed my favorite color on the first try. But between you and me, I didn't even have a favorite color until she yelled out yellow. She was excited and smiling like a little kid, so I told her she was right. And I haven't seen yellow the same since. It's in everything. I could probably live in it now. She is the most beautiful pattern of beauty on the fabric of love. She is a poem and a painting too. Everything she said sounded like a song, and every silence was music. She is an old soul with young eyes, a vintage heart, and a beautiful mind. Love is not about possession. Love is about appreciation. I carry your heart with me. I carry it in my heart. You are the poem I never knew how to write, and this life is the story I have always wanted to tell. The minute I heard my first love story, I started looking for you, not knowing how blind that was. Lovers don't finally meet somewhere. They're in each other all along.
I almost cried.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not about possession.
It's about appreciation.
That is something every young man needs to hear.
Yeah. It's not about controlling. It's not about what's yours. And granted, they are ours. I always go,
Right.
that's my body. You know,
That's
I own that
my
my body right
person.
there. Right. But that said, really, truly, that's
Yeah.
not what it is. You don't get that. You don't get to have that without appreciation and the safe space.
Somebody is never going to completely love you if they feel controlled by you.
Mm-hmm. You can't make somebody feel that way is why.
No.
They have to be free to feel that way.
Yeah.
I love that. It reminds me of this TikTok.
So TikTok, shout
That
out
says-
to TikTok.
yeah.
We said it
That
so much.
says your person, your partner, they chose you. Not, and it's from a female to a male. Not because she was your mother, not because she's your sister or family. That is like a person who chose you, right?
Not because she had to.
No, because she wanted to.
Because she wanted to.
I love that. I love in that where he says, I carry your heart in my heart.
Right.
Mhm.
I love
And
that.
I saw you writing down when it said the fabric of love.
Yeah.
You're the most beautiful pattern of the
Yeah.
fabric of love.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love love. So
I love love.
too.
I love you guys.
love it.
So, whoa.
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 She said, don't touch that.
Whoa.
Like,
Do you know how many shots you guys have to drink right now? That's a whole lot of love in this episode.
Oh my God.
You should be
That's
drunk
right.
walking
should-
out
oh.
here.
Drunk on
Drunk
love.
on love.
All right. That's a wrap, Rooted Warriors. Love is the thread that ties everything together. How we care, connect, and give. Let love guide you. Watch it transform your entire world. Remember to spread love. This is Mighty Mo, reminding you to keep love at the center. Feel blessed, be blessed.